they were accommodated, could feel that they were part and parcel, not just of the government, but of the entire socio-economic structure. And that was my key platform. Coupled with that, as I said earlier, I was also very keen on seeing a new or a younger generation participating in politics, because I did feel that that would also help in dealing with some of the key social problems that we were having, which were largely related to youth unemployment, and that was throughout the country, and that was a major problem that I felt needed to be dealt with, and I still feel needs to be dealt with.
As we know, President Kibaki won that election. How did you accept defeat in that election by him?
Your Honours, after the campaign period was over and the elections were concluded, when the tallying began of the votes, after some time it did become apparent to myself that the direction of the voting was leading to a win by my opponent in the election, who was then Mwai Kibaki, who was the leader of the NARC party. And at the same time, given the fact that it was a transitional election, that we were moving from a president who had been there for over 24 years and a party that had been in power since independence, there was growing tensions, because there were rumors around that the ruling party would not give in or would not accept or concede defeat. And I felt in order to lower the tensions that were prevailing in the country, because at the same time there was talk that there was going to be a mobilization of people to march to State House, to take over by force. So I felt that there was really no need for us to head in that direction, and in order to reduce the tensions, and after consulting with my colleagues, we felt it necessary to announce that myself, as the candidate who was following Mwai Kibaki, I should announce that I had accepted and conceded defeat in that particular election. And we went ahead and organized for a press conference where I announced that I had conceded defeat, despite the fact that the election tallying was not over, in order to reduce the tensions that were beginning to build in the country.
That concession of defeat in 2002 to avoid those tensions you speak about, how was that received by your own party, KANU?
Well, at first there were those who felt that we should wait for the election results to fully come in. But like I said, Your Honours, it was quite clear to me at that stage that President Kibaki was actually going to win. So I didn't feel the need to wait, as was being suggested by some. And at the same time, we did not want to see those particular tensions that were beginning to rise. Like I said, there had been statements of, a march towards State House and etc. And I didn't think that it was necessary for us to get into that. So I felt that the right thing to do at the time was to concede, because the direction that the vote tallying was going was clearly indicating that President Kibaki was going to win that particular election. So I didn't feel that it was necessary for us to wait until the final results had come in.
I'd like to ask you some general questions now about clashes and tensions at the time of election results in Kenya. From your political experience, did each of those elections, 1997 and 2002, was there any post-election violence or violence at the time of the elections that marked those two campaigns?
Your Honor, since the advent of multi-party politics in Kenya, the first election was in 1992, and in 1992 there was witnessed in certain parts of the country a violence between communities, and the same also occurred in 1997. And it was, like I'm saying, those fears that I had, given the fact that, as I said, in the 2002 elections, similar tensions were also beginning to build up. And that is why I felt, in order to avoid the kind of scenario that we had seen in 1992 and 97, there was need to concede and to allow the country to calm down so that we could begin with a new government. And basically that is what I did, because election violence has been seen in Kenya, like I said, since the advent of multi-party politics in 1992.
Perhaps you could tell us from 1992 what form of violence there's been. What shape does it take? What happens? Is it rival parties or ethnic groups? How would you describe the particular nature and the causes of it?
Your Honours, the causes are more or less ethnic type tensions, where communities who belong or are supporting different presidential candidates would mobilize themselves to evict those who they felt were not supporting their particular ethnic group. I mean, so I would say it was more or less not party-based, but ethnic-based. That is the kind of violence that we tended to see.
Was it losers against victors?
I don't quite understand, Your Honour.
Say in a particular constituency, if the particular group lost and their candidate didn't succeed, did they then try and take it out on the victors, or didn't it even matter what the results were? Was it a violence that came about because you had affiliated yourself in a particular direction?
It wasn't necessarily about parliamentary candidates, or it wasn't constituency based. It was more around the presidential elections. Let's take both the 92 and 97. It was in some areas where the Kalenjin community felt that those living in the Rift Valley should support the candidate from the Rift Valley, who at that time happened to be a Kalenjin. And if they didn't vote for that particular candidate, they were being asked to move out of the areas they occupied if they weren't going to support the political direction of that community that was in that particular region. So I think that was more or less the form it took.
Thank you. Another political event that we've seen mentioned in relation to the information and documents in this case was the constitutional referendum in 2005. First of all, if you could explain what the referendum was about at that time.
Your Honours, as I've said, we over the years had since independence a number of changes to the Constitution, culminating in the removal of Section 2A of in the Constitution that barred more than one party. And when that was done, there was the introduction, as I said, of multi-party politics. However, there was a feeling that that removal of that section alone was not enough to allow a proper democracy to flourish. And there was then a move towards having a comprehensive review of the Constitution and the need for a new Constitution, so as to be able to deal with some of the social, developmental, and indeed ethnic challenges that the country had gone through over a period of time. So really, the new Constitution was aimed at dealing with some of the social, economic, and ethnic and land issues and many other issues that Kenyans felt needed to be redressed.
Did President Kibaki's government then produce a constitution which was submitted for a national referendum?
There was a constitution that was developed, not necessarily by President Kibaki's government, because really it was a process that was being driven by a conference that had been held and ultimately driven through a parliamentary process. But there was a draft that was finally approved by Parliament somewhere in 2005.
Which side of the debate did you eventually support? Yes for reform of the Constitution on that particular draft, or no against it?
Your Honours, at that time, my party felt that there were a number of issues that the Constitution that had been approved did not take into account. And we adopted a stance as a party that those issues were issues that needed to be incorporated in the new Constitution. And therefore we felt we could not support the draft as it was, and therefore we took a position not to support the Constitution, and we went for, during the referendum, we went on the no side, that the Constitution should not be approved at that particular time.
And President Kibaki's NARC or NARC party, what was the position of that party?